Good morning. Not a morning. Good evening, everybody. My name is Kim at Dahnke. I am the Shibboleth new member fast track instructor, and tonight's webinar is our lifestyle overview. What I'm going to tell you tonight, if you just start applying tomorrow, you can start getting results this week. It does not take watching tons of videos to learn the information. Are there videos available? Yes. Is there a little curriculum available? Yes. Because most of the time people want to know why they're doing what they're doing, and it helps them get their mindset straight. But before you understand everything, you can go ahead and get started. You do not have to understand everything to get started. You just need to know the 5 simple things to do every day. If you are with me on Facebook, please take a second to say hello. And if you already did, I missed it, and the comments no longer appear on Facebook like they used to. So please tell me again. Also, if you're a member, do me a favor and hit the share button. The share button is that button in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen that is free to you to share, and the information helps other people. Hey, Teresa, I'm glad you're here. That's awesome. That's awesome. I saw that post today. Hey, Diane, need to get back on track. I've been bad. I need to get back on the planet. Okay. I didn't know you were off the planet, but I'm glad you are here to get back on the planet. You can do it, Diane. We're going to reel that in, baby. All right, Rhonda from Clarksville. Hello, Rhonda. Hi, Joanne. Awesome, Diane. Thank you for sharing. And your profile picture makes me laugh. It made me laugh the other day when I saw it. So you are funny. If you are in the Zoom room, I want you to find the chat button. Okay, find the chat button and then click where it says hosts and panelists. And you should see the option for everyone. Click everyone. And then when you type, everybody can see what you have to say. So if you don't mind, please tell me in the Zoom room or on Facebook how long you've been in Shibboleth, where you're from, who told you about Shibboleth. Let me know some things about you. And I'm going to give it just one more minute and we're going to get started. I do not belabor getting started. I hope everybody's had a great night. I'm wondering where everybody is tonight in the Zoom room. Let's see who's here. I've got Deb, Christina, Debbie, Kelly, Nancy. Glad y'all are here. Hey, Kelly. But normally we have 20 or more people on here. Where is everybody, y'all? Hey, Chris. Chris, I hope you had fun glamping. You look like you had good meals today. I like that. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to go over a PowerPoint that I use just to teach the class, okay? There we go. Hey, Kelly, I'm glad you're excited. Let me just tell you, you should be excited. It's amazing information, Kelly. Hey, Heidi, glad you're here. Yes, it is absolutely amazing, Kelly. It has improved my life in so many different ways. Hey, Mary, great news. I lost 30 pounds in 5 weeks. I can't do the internet, but I use my paper journal and the packet that I mailed that packet to you, Mary. I can't see the rest of it, but Mary, we spent time talking to each other on the phone, and 30 pounds. I told you you could do it. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that update, Mary. Oh, you just made me so happy. That is wonderful. Congratulations. Okay, so what I go over tonight is I go over the lifestyle. If you just start doing the things that I say tonight, you start doing those tomorrow, you're going to go ahead and start getting results. But the way that I really want you to see Shibboleth is I want you to see it as a management system. Yeah, thank you, Teresa. Management system. That's what Shibboleth is. Basically, awesome, Mary. Mary, sometimes you have to press, somebody tell her to press that little sound button. It sometimes ends up with an X on it. Somebody type that in there for me. Maybe she can hit that button. But it's a management system. So we manage things, on a month. And then I always think about a week, a day, a meal, and a moment of weakness. Okay. We've got to manage these things. And what I'm going to share with you tonight is the way to manage that. Thank you, Deb. Okay. So it's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. Well, let's just get that straight out right now. This is so weird. Okay. Zoom is acting strange tonight too, so I apologize for that. If I seem a little distracted at times, I'm sure I'll get it figured out. Okay, so in Shibboleth, the basics are this. There are two modes in Shibboleth. You are either in weight loss mode or maintenance mode. That's it. Most of the time, people start off in weight loss mode. I have had every once in a while somebody come in and start off in maintenance. Totally fine. They just needed all the other information to better their health, and they started off in maintenance. But most of the time, people start off in weight loss mode, and that is a mode. It's a little checkbox that you can choose in your journal when you set up your profile. You get to pick which mode you're in, weight loss or maintenance. Y'all, there's only 3 differences between the 2 modes. One is simply the number of holidays that you take in a calendar month. 2, how you eat fruit. I know that sounds funny, but we'll go over that in a little bit. 3, your mindset. You might be starting off right now thinking diet. You might. And I just want you to know, if you are thinking diet right now, let that work to your benefit right now in the beginning. But by the time you get to maintenance, we've got to have the mindset change that this is a lifestyle. Because if you go back to doing the old habits that you did before, then you get the same results as before. So we got to get from diet mentality to, oh, this is what I do every day to manage my weight, manage my health mentality. There are 2 types of days on Shibboleth. You are either having a perfect day or a holiday. That's it. Perfect day or holiday. Now, when you go to journal for the very first time and you click that little drop down menu in your journal, you might see like 10 or 11 different types of days listed. In the beginning, I want you to ignore all of them except for perfect day or holiday. Perfect day or holiday. That's it. Because I don't want to overwhelm you with all this information, because advanced knowledge, you don't need the advanced knowledge right now. You just need the basics, just the simple basics to get you started. So you're just having a perfect day or a holiday. Now, a holiday is what people think of as a cheat day in the world, but we don't call it that. We call it a holiday. Now, I'm an educator, and I'm educating y'all, but I don't actually teach, or I used to be the principal at First Baptist Christian School in Kennesaw. So I don't actually do those things anymore in that formal sense, but I'm gonna tell you, I love teaching this better than anything I've ever taught in my life. So, cheating has a negative connotation. So why would I want to call something a cheat day? I'm not a cheater. I use a holiday. It is a day that I can celebrate or just do what I want to do. And it's not meant to be negative. Okay. But you can't have as many as we had before Shibboleth. Otherwise, we don't get the results that we want. Okay. When you are in weight loss mode, you can use up to 6 holidays in a calendar month. Okay. So we're in October, and you could do up to 6 holidays this month in weight loss mode. Do you see how already that is helping you manage things? Because you got to do right 80% of the time, the other 24 to 25 days that are in a calendar month. Now, one of the differences between weight loss mode and maintenance mode is the number of holidays that you can have. And once you get to maintenance mode, you can do up to 12 holidays in a calendar month. But everything that I talk about now is 6 days, okay? Just 6 holidays. How do you have a perfect day is the next question we're going to answer. How do you have a perfect day? You simply follow the Shibboleth shield. The Shibboleth shield is what keeps us safe on a perfect day. It keeps us within the guidelines living by the standards on a perfect day. That's what the Shibboleth shield does. After 2 perfect days, you are in EFB, EFB, baby, efficient fat burning. So efficient fat burning is where your body is going to access and burn stored energy, which is just fat. That's what stored energy is. But see, there's energy that's already there that we can access and use, and we've got to access and use it to make it go away. Okay, so we're going to teach you how to make it go away. So how do you follow the shield? You do these 5 things. We're going to drink our water every single day. We're going to journal every day. We're going to eat in the right food combinations every day. And I should have said all along, every perfect day. Portions, we're going to portion control our food, and we're going to use good timing. And I'm going to go over each one of those individually. So water, we're going to drink at least half a gallon of water every single day. Half a gallon of water is 64 ounces. That would be your minimum in order to say that you've met this component of having a perfect day. There's 5 components of the Shibboleth shield. 4 of them must be met in order to say that you've had a perfect day, and water is one of them. Okay, so at least get in your 64 ounces. Although I'm having a holiday today, I still get my water in even on a holiday. Hey, Donna. So working on my water right there. A dehydrated body will not efficiently give up fat or waste, and we need both of those things to be moving out of our body on a regular basis. Okay, so we've got to drink our water. That is a non-negotiable, to drink your water every day. If you don't drink your water, it's not a perfect day. You would just need to call that a holiday. Okay, the second thing is you are going to journal. Journaling is the part of the shield that helps us modify behavior. And if you're honest with yourself, behaviors need to be modified. I mean, mine needed to be modified. And thankfully, this lifestyle helped me do that. So if you bite it, you write it. If you nibble it, you scribble it. If you drink it, you ink it. And if you hog it, you log it. We are going to write down everything that we eat. So put it all down on paper or in your journal. Okay. So let's go ahead and write this down. If you are not writing it down, it is not a perfect day. This is a component of having a perfect day. The third part of having a perfect day is eating in the right food combinations. So we're going to eat properly combined meals. We're going to eat in a way that controls insulin, aka the fat bus. Insulin is what we call the fat bus. We'll talk about that in just a second. Properly combined meals keep away the fat bus. Hey, Rhonda. Now, hopefully the things I just said on this slide right here, you already went, I want to keep away the fat bus. I mean, it's got to be a want that is in our mind and our heart. And you hear these things and you go, okay, I want to do that. How do I do that? You control insulin. Insulin is a growth hormone. It is a growth hormone that is focused on fat storage. Not all growth hormones store fat, but this one does. So it needs to be controlled. And we control that by eating foods in the right combinations. It is absolutely the most amazing thing I have ever learned about nutrition. Okay, so we're going to keep that away, keep insulin at bay. Now, I want you to think about this. I like to talk about insulin in this way. I don't know what age it was that you stopped growing, but if since that point you have always had sugar and stuff going around in your body, then you've always had insulin running around in your body and you've always been in fat storage mode. And when you are in insulin fat storage mode, you're not growing taller if you've already stopped growing. We're growing wider. And so that's why we've got to control the insulin in order to not store new fat. See, that's part of what we got to do in Shibboleth, not store new fat. So we've got to burn that other fat off, but not store new fat. Does that make sense to everybody? Once you get that other fat burned off, don't store new. All right. The fourth component is portions. We're going to eat properly portioned meals from a 6 to 8 inch plate using the 2-hand rule. Now, if you're using a 6 to 8 inch plate, we are not using the 2-inch rim around the edge. It's just that center part, okay? But no matter what size plate you're using, your 2 hands are your standard. You do not eat more than what will fit underneath your 2 hands. So you close your fingers up as close together as possible. You move your thumbs out of the way. You put your hands together, and then you lower them down over your food. You lower them down over your food. And you do not want that any thicker than the thickest part of your hand either, okay? So take your hands just like this right now and lay them down there over your tummy and just say, my stomach is not bigger than that. I do not need more food that would fit under that. Say that to yourself. You've got to train yourself for that. Oh yeah, Rhonda, I love that. Rhonda says kids' meals are great if you're out. It is so true. I even did a holiday sometime last week, and I had a Zaxby's kid meal just because it gave me what I wanted to taste, but not a ridiculous amount of food. It was so perfect. It was awesome, even though it was a holiday that day. Hey, Angelia, glad you're here. So we're going to portion control. If you happen to be taking notes tonight, please write this down. There are 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. So that's 3,500. So in order to lose 1 pound of fat, we have got to be in a calorie deficit of 3,500 calories. Y'all, this does not happen overnight. Now, in the beginning, weight's going to drop and you're going to think, but I wasn't in a 3,500 calorie deficit. How did that happen? Lots of things go on in your first 7 to 10 days. You are normalizing your hydration levels, and you are getting rid of sugar stores and other things, and you're just boom, you'll lose 7 to 10 pounds, hopefully in your first 7 to 10 days. Okay. But just go ahead and do all of those pieces and parts. But then once that normalizes, because it'll normalize. Once that normalizes, it's going to take a couple of days to get into that 3,500 calorie deficit in order for you to lose a pound of fat. And all of these things that I go over, it's just math. Now, we don't do a lot of math because you don't have to know how to do math in order for math to work to your benefit if you just apply these little details, okay? So if you do this, if you portion control, you don't even have to count calories, because guess what? We're not hyper-focused on calories on this program. We have you'll hear them mentioned every once in a while, but it's not something that we do. What we do is we portion control our food, and we're going to have the right food combination underneath our hands. So we're not storing new fat with the combinations, and we are getting into a calorie deficit to burn those pounds of fat with the portion control. So it all works together. Okay, so there's 5 components you'll see on this slide that I'm on number 4. Number 1 was your water. Number 2 is journal. Does it require any prior knowledge to drink water? No, you can start that tomorrow. Does it require anything for you to write food down? No, you start that tomorrow. Combinations. Yeah, you're going to need to learn the little meals that you could have that would work for you. But in lap 1, we have got all kinds of meal ideas, okay? And you can keep it super simple: chicken and green beans, chicken and broccoli, 96% lean ground beef, and hamburger patty, and asparagus or whatever. Now, I may have mentioned foods you don't like. That's okay. You don't have to eat anything on Planet Shibboleth that you don't like. You just scratch those off your list. But we do have to figure out what you do like. And then portion controlling. That does not require you to have any knowledge. Do y'all see how it doesn't really take that much to know what to do? So drink your water every day. It's a do thing. It's I'm going to do this thing. Let's see. What category is venison? Venison is a 1, which is a lean protein, unless it has been processed with meat, with fat. if it has been processed with fat, if it's still 96% lean, then you could call that a 1, which is a lean protein. If it's between 93 and 95.9, you could call it a category 4. If it has been processed and it has more than 93%, I don't know why anybody do that, but if it did, it wouldn't be approved for a perfect day. But the venison is a 1, but it also depends on how much fat was processed with it. So I hope that helps. And so if there's no fat processed with it, that's still just a 1, a category 1 lean protein. Okay. And so portions, you can start portions tomorrow. So those 4, you can start all of those tomorrow. It's the one that has to do with the food that you're going to want to spend a little bit of time learning, but it's not so hard that you need to do weeks and weeks of research to get started. Just go ahead and get started. Okay. Then component number 5 of the shield is timing. Okay. This part is called timing. This is the one part of the shield that if you don't hit it just right, you still can have a perfect day. All right. So what we want you to do is you can do up to 3 meals a day. If you do less than 3 meals, that's fine. But you can do up to 3 meals a day. You would not want to go more than 3 meals in a day. You should have these meals 4 to 6 hours apart. But that's the part where if you don't hit it just quite right, that won't throw you off of having a perfect day. So let's say that you eat breakfast at 8 and you had plans on eating breakfast at noon, and that would be 4 hours, but then you ended up eating at 11, which was 3 hours. That's if you still have a properly combined, properly portioned meal. If you didn't go 4 hours or 4 to 6 hours, you're still having a perfect day. Okay. That's not a problem, but you have to do this based on what works for your lifestyle. And this one is really for optimization. It's more optimal for you to have time between meals. That time between meals gives your body the time to start the digestive process, which is important. And it gives you time to just give your digestive system a break between meals. Now, if you have a moment of what Travis calls mental weakness, you can utilize things that we call freebies, an extra, or a snack. Freebies, an extra, or a snack. Now, we're going to talk more about those this week, specifically on Thursday night. But if you go into the food library, which we're going to start looking at on Tuesday night. Now, obviously, you can move ahead in the laps, the fast track laps, and look at things. That's fine. But freebies are technically unlimited, but I don't like for people to think of them as unlimited because I really only want you to use them if you need them. Okay. An extra is just something a little extra. I always describe it as in picking up that peppermint or that Andes mint as you walk out of a restaurant. Those aren't approved. I mean, you can find versions of those things that are, but that's just my example. If it's just something a little extra, it's nothing big, nothing huge. It's just something a little extra. And then a snack, we all know what a snack is. It's basically a small meal at some point, but you can have up to 1 snack in a day. But so right here, if you go over more than 1 extra or more than 1 snack in a day, then it would no longer be a perfect day. But that's when you're technically reverting back to portions and you went over your portions for the day, because you can do up to 1 extra, up to 1 snack, and up to 3 meals in a day, and you could do freebies. Okay, but keep in mind that we need to stop grazing. Now, this another teaching tool here, this character right here, this guy, he grazes, she grazes, whatever it is, grazes. Okay. That cow was designed with a stomach that has 4 chambers in it, designed for grazing. We do not have a stomach with 4 chambers. We were not designed to graze. So let's just go through what all you could have on a Shibboleth perfect day. You could have a properly combined meal. And then let's say maybe mid-morning you had an extra, and then you had a properly combined lunch. Mid-afternoon, you had an approved snack. And then for dinner, you had a properly combined meal. And then at night, you had a freebie. That's technically 6 eating episodes, right? Okay, that's 6 times we've eaten. That really looks like grazing. But if everything was properly combined and it was approved items and you ate the proper portion of it, you also wrote it all down and you drank your water, that would be a good Shibboleth perfect day. Okay. And in the beginning, sometimes people need all of that, but you can start to back off of that too. But do what you have to in the beginning to keep a perfect day. Okay. But now let's say that you had 3 meals and a freebie, at that moment of mental weakness, then that's when you can say, that's a better day. So that first one was a good Shibboleth perfect day. Maybe 3 meals and a freebie would be an even better day. And then maybe you just do 3 meals. That would be one of the best days. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Hey, Shannon, glad you're here. Awesome. I'm so thankful you're here to support. That's awesome. Thank you. So those are the 5 components of the shield. I just want to get a confirmation from y'all that you understand that 4 out of the 5 don't have anything to do with food. Does everybody understand that? Water, journal, portions, and your timing, that has nothing to do with what you're eating. If you go ahead and start putting all those into play, then the combination one, even if you messed it up by accident, you'd still be doing well. Okay. So any confirmations that all makes sense? That's not hard. But what this thing is, it's a do thing. We're going to wake up and tomorrow we are going to do these things. I get up in the mornings and I set my water out on the counter. I want to visually see that water leave my counter throughout the day. That way, by the end, I have a visual measuring tool. That water leaves. I want it all gone by the end of the day. I want to write down when I'm eating. And then when I'm eating, I'm going to combine it right and portion it right. And I'm going to try to give time between meals. That's what I'm going to do. And you'll get results. Y'all, I lost awesome. Kelly, got it. Thank you. Thank you. And if you'll do perfect days, 24 to 25 days out of a calendar month, you're going to get the results that you want. And then you get to start over in November. And I'm going to teach y'all strategies on Tuesday night for planning holidays and getting all that stuff worked out so that you aren't just willy-nilly having holidays. And then Thanksgiving comes and you go out of town for 3 days and you're like, oh, crud, I wanted holidays. And then you're out of holidays. We got to make a plan. The whole thing that we're doing is managing our life. So one time I had the timer going off in the kitchen for my water. And my husband, he didn't know why the timer was going off. He said, hey, why is the timer going off? Because he thought maybe he needed to do something or he could help me out with something. I said, I'm managing my life. And he just went, okay, I'll leave her alone. She's managing her life. So that just meant get in there and get another bottle of water down. And sometimes we get busy and we have to have these reminders. So there is nothing wrong with setting up your reminders and all those things that you need. Okay, now the next slide is pretty important. All right, we are going to have a look at what it takes to put together a properly combined meal. Now, this one, out of the 5 things, this one is what you're eating. This one's pretty darn important to everybody, what you're eating. Plus, you want to do the right thing now that you're learning this information. I'm going to go over this one slide tonight, but tomorrow's 1 full hour is on this topic, this 1 full hour tomorrow. And the most important thing that everyone who is new or restarting needs to do is to make a list of all the lean proteins you like, at least 10. I want to see at least 10. At least 10 fibrous carbs you like, and so forth, all the way through category 7. Got to make your favorites list. So if you hear me say anything tonight that you think you might like, go ahead and write it on your list, okay? And then tomorrow night, you'll hear a few more. And then as we go throughout the week, you'll find more. Okay, so there are 7 categories of food. Now, food makes their way into these categories based on their nutritional profile and how they respond in your body. Now, most of the foods that are in these lists are things that roam the earth swim in the ocean, or grow from the ground. Okay. These are good, high quality whole foods and things like that. But this lifestyle has absolutely everything that everybody needs. So if you were eating Pop Tarts before, we're going to help you figure out what's going to be a Pop Tart that will help you, not hurt you. And if in the future you decide, I want to go more whole foods, maybe you can advance into that. But we meet everybody where they are on their journey. And I think that's very important for a sustainable and practical lifestyle. So, but what we teach you in the beginning tonight is like all the whole foods, because it really is interesting to see how this works. And then as the week progresses, I'll talk about snacks, extras, meal replacements, and things like that that can take up the place of those previously processed foods that were hurting us, not helping us. We'll find out what can help us, not hurt us. Okay. Category 1 is a lean protein, and you will see the abbreviation for that as LP. Category 2 is a fibrous carb, FC. Category 3 is an energy carb, EC. And every once in a while, you will also see complex carb listed on a list. It just depends on, I guess, whoever got froggy that day and decided to call it complex carb instead of an energy carb. They're both the same thing. Now, what I'm drinking, I got to take a sip of this. See, I'm having a holiday today. And when I have a holiday, I'll drink a couple of tablespoons of Bragg's apple cider vinegar with the mother. You got to get the one that says with the mother. And what I had in a 0-calorie drink. Apple cider vinegar helps regulate blood sugar. And usually on a holiday, your blood sugar elevates. And so I was drinking that just to kind of help regulate that a little bit. Now, is that going to make me not weigh extra weight in the morning? No, it won't, but it can help me regulate that blood sugar a little bit more. So that's what that was. So I got my water and my drink here. Category 4 is a protein plus fat, PF. Category 5 is fruit, FR, also known as an antioxidant carb. So you may see AC or antioxidant carb written. Category 6 is superfood, SF, and category 7 is shellfish, SHF, which is really just a lean protein. So you've got category 1 and category 7. These are the bookends of your categories, and both of them are lean proteins. So if anybody ever says to you, oh, you need a lean protein with that, well, Rhonda's asking what's the best health-wise hot chocolate flavor. Rhonda, I buy the canister, and the canister is just the regular flavor. Otherwise, I have had the marshmallow and the mint, and those are both really good. But other than that, I really hadn't had any other flavors. I just buy the canister of regular hot chocolate, Rhonda. And I had some this morning as I was headed to church. So you got your category 1 and 7. So if anybody ever says, oh, you need a lean protein with that, if you eat shellfish, then you can pick from both categories. Okay. Either one. Okay, so on homemade granola bars, you would have to have us look at that recipe. It might need to be modified. So as for homemade granola bars, the first thing that I would do is I would go into the recipe library and I would look for a granola bar that's already in there, and I would make one that you know is already going to be approved. But otherwise, if you have a specific recipe that you like, you need to have us look at it, and we can give you any simple swaps. We call it simple swaps. We'll give you any simple swaps that you need to make that approved. Also on the, yeah, I thought the mint was good, Rhonda. On the homemade granola bars too, if that's like your thing, you can have them up to 6 times a month on a holiday. But on a perfect day, you just want to make sure that it is either yours is approved, or we swap it around for you, or you just make one from the recipe library that's already in there. Okay, so if you happen to have written 1 through 7 at the top of a piece of paper, like going, oh, she's wanting me to make some lists, great. If you didn't, go ahead and write 1 through 7 at the top of a piece of paper for me, if you've got paper. And then once you've written 1 through 7, I want you to circle these next 5 numbers. I want you to circle number 1, number 2, number 4, number 6, and number 7. Those 5 categories do not even have to be combined. You can eat them alone and it will be okay. Why is it important to know that? Because we teach you situational eating. Not every time you sit down for a meal is it going to be a full out, homemade, gourmet, family style, beautiful, everything's perfect meal. Sometimes we just have to make a decision about what is going to be perfect for us in that moment. And it's important to know which ones you can eat alone. And I like to use this example. I go to a lot of luncheons for my job. And at these luncheons, sometimes I look at this food and I go, fat bus, fat bus, fat bus, fat bus. Oh, they've got steak. I'll eat the steak. And that's just me eating a protein plus fat all by itself, because I can do that and I'm keeping my perfect day. And I do that every once in a while. But I don't have to make that decision all the time, but I want to know how to make the decision when that comes up. Okay, so now we've circled those 5. The 2 that weren't circled are 3s and 5s. And I want you to go ahead and get this sound in your head. Ding, 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 ding. I want you to know your favorite category 3s and your favorite fruits. And every time you think of those, I want you to think ding, 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 because those must be combined properly. A category 3 energy carb must be eaten with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. So what a plate might look like is, let's say that you do some field peas right here. You've got some field peas. It's going to be about a quarter of a cup. It'll fit right there. All right. And then let's just keep it real simple. We got some 96% venison. We're going to make some venison right here. But I don't know who asked you that question because it says anonymous, but I'm doing venison for them. We've got a lean protein right here. Got some venison. And we've got some green beans right here. All right. So let me just tell you the story of this plate. When you eat these field peas, your blood sugar is going to elevate. You know, field peas aren't bad for you. They're not bad for you. They've got good nutrients in them. But due to their nutritional profile, that's just what happens. Your blood sugar elevates. Your pancreas secretes insulin. And when your pancreas secretes insulin, it actually comes out to do the job of regulating the blood sugar from what was eaten. Okay. But you're learning tonight that you need to eat in a way that controls insulin. Well, you control insulin not necessarily by meds. Let's control it with food. So that lean protein venison and the fiber in these green beans are going to neutralize the insulin release that came out because of the field peas. You just used food as medicine and controlled the insulin that was released because of that meal. Hallelujah. I just put your hands up right now and just say, I now know the secret. That's the secret right there. If you are pre-diabetic or diabetic, that's exciting news. Anybody excited about that? I know I am. Okay. Now also think about this. At a quarter of a cup of field peas, did you overeat field peas? And y'all can answer if you want to. Did we overeat field peas at a quarter of a cup? Y'all aren't sleeping on me, are you? You're not going to starve. We eat plenty. Now, I'm not, okay, so I don't know who Anonymous is, but yeah, Angelia is right. We did not overeat field peas at a quarter of a cup. Now, Anonymous, in the beginning, I do want to let you know you may feel a little hunger at times. You might, but that's because that's right, Carolyn. We're changing our habits up. But we like to eat too. We want to control insulin. We want to do all of the right things. And we get plenty of stuff and we still get holidays. This is going to be the best lifestyle you have ever done in your whole life. I promise you. Okay, now let's talk about fruit. Fruit it's got fructose in it. Fructose is a natural sugar. What does sugar do? It elevates your blood sugar. Your pancreas secretes insulin to deal with that blood sugar elevation. You may just be like, what? Thank you, Chris. It is absolutely the best. You may be thinking, fruit? Oh my goodness. Whenever I've needed to lose weight before, I just go and eat fruit. Did it work out for you? I don't know. But fruit is a thing. It's a food that's really good for you when eaten properly. Okay, there's some beautiful colors in there. You get a lot of phytonutrients from that fruit. You get some micronutrients. It's antioxidants. You get great things from fruit. But if you are in the nutritional situation where you have excess body weight that you want to get rid of, fruit must be combined properly. Okay, so let's say that you want to have some berries. Maybe you make yourself an egg white, which would be a lean protein, spinach. Rhonda says, I've noticed if you stay busy in between meals in the beginning, it helps you pass time as you get used to the portions. That's a good idea, Rhonda. I did have a friend take back up crocheting. So maybe you make yourself an egg white spinach omelet, then you can have those berries. The egg whites are the lean protein, the spinach is the fibrous carb, and you can eat the berries. That'll all work together. Now, I've got lots of other meal suggestions. We're just not going to hit them all tonight because we won't have time, but we're going to look at some more of those tomorrow night, okay? I can even put together, maybe I want a small apple, and I make myself a deli turkey wrap with an Olay Extreme Wellness high fiber tortilla. Those are my favorite, by the way. Olay Extreme Wellness high fiber tortilla. Long name, but it's really good. So I make myself a turkey wrap with a small apple. There's you a great lunch to take to work. I mean, there's amazing things that can be done. We just got to do them in the right way. Okay. Sorry, I move around a lot. Now, do you remember in the beginning, I said there's two modes, weight loss mode or maintenance mode. And one of the differences between the two modes was how you eat fruit. When you are in weight loss mode, you must eat fruit combined properly. But once you've gotten to maintenance mode, so you're not in the same nutritional situation as previously. And so a little insulin release is not going to hurt you. So if you're eating fruit in maintenance with a meal, you should still combine it properly. But you could also have fruit as a snack if you wanted it to in maintenance, but you don't do that in weight loss mode, okay? That's the only real difference with food. That's the only real difference with food between weight loss and maintenance. And if you think about it, it's just the number of holidays that you can have. That's the big deal. Fruit's the only change in food. And then obviously your mindset, and that's just a habit changing over time and getting used to these being your new habits. Shannon says, where do you find the approved meal replacement bars and shakes? In the food library. In the food library. And we're specifically going to go over the food library on Tuesday night, but I know that you might want to go ahead and get there. Go ahead and take the fast track quiz so that you can get your full food library, recipe library, and restaurant guide open to you. Because until you take the fast track quiz, you have a limited viewing of those things. But once you take the fast track quiz, you get full access to all of those things. Okay, so you heard me say there were 5 of the 7 you could eat alone. And then the energy carbs and the fruit must be combined with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. But now we've got to go over one more thing that's really, really important. Do you see this one right here, this protein plus fat? See that word fat? It is not a bad word. Fat is not a bad thing. Our body actually needs fats for certain functions. And if you eat protein plus fat in a portion controlled way, it's not going to hurt you. It is not going to hurt you. Actually, fat gets used up as energy and dissipates as heat. Okay. So we can have protein plus fat in a portion controlled way. You can actually have this protein plus fat by itself. So let's say that you get up and you want to make yourself some scrambled eggs and you have scrambled eggs for breakfast. That's fine. You can do that. But what I need you to understand about protein plus fat is what foods you don't put with it. Okay. So what we don't put with a protein plus fat is anything that brings an insulin release. Because remember what insulin is, it's the fat bus. And if insulin has been released and there's fat in the system at the same time, it's going to go collect it and store it. And we don't want to store new fat. Therefore, we don't eat fat with carbs that bring an insulin release. The reason I add that part about that brings an insulin release is because look right here. These are carbs, fibrous carbs. They don't bring an insulin release. So what we're not going to do is we're not going to eat protein plus fat with energy carbs, fruit, or superfood. All right. So you can eat protein plus fat by itself. You can eat protein plus fat with other lean proteins. Your protein hand would still be right here. Okay. And you could put it with fibrous carbs. But on a perfect day, you would not eat it with energy carbs, fruit, or superfoods. Can you do that on a holiday? Yep, you can do whatever combination you want on a holiday. Okay, it's a holiday. So you can do that up to 6 times a month. Now, superfood. What qualifies a food to be a superfood is that it has all 4 macronutrients in there. And if you looked at any nutrition stuff before, you might be thinking, how is there 4 macronutrients? Water. We call water a macronutrient on planet Shibboleth. It is actually the most important macronutrient, and it is a 0-calorie macronutrient. The other 3 in order of importance, yes, Rhonda. Rhonda said, is salmon considered a 1? Yes. All fish, whether it's a lighter fish or a darker fish, all fish is considered a category 1 lean protein. Yes, ma'am. But in order of importance, we've got water is the first important. Protein, fat, and carbs. Okay, so hence why you don't put it with a protein plus fat. All right, is that making sense to everybody? It might make sense, and you might be going, but I don't know what foods are in these categories yet. And that's okay. We're going to be talking about that more tomorrow. And there are meal ideas in lap 1 to go ahead and get you started. Okay. So let's go ahead and now let's recap. Well, I want to look at this chart. Do you see this chart over here? You've got red, yellow, and blue. This blue category is fast weight loss. This yellow column here, I meant to say column. This yellow column is faster weight loss. This red column, you are blowtorching fat like you'd blowtorch butter if you stay here in this red column. But what I want you to know is that most of the time, people are in all 3 of these within a week's time. Okay, so if you want to kind of stay in the red and the yellow just to get your best results, throw in a couple of blue column meals every once in a while, you can do that. Now, this particular chart, there's actually 2 combination charts, okay? This particular chart does not have any 3s or 5s on it. It doesn't have any energy, carbs, or fruit on it. Technically, from day 1, you can eat energy, carbs, and fruit. But if you were willing to give them up for just say, first 7 to 10 days, then you could get some even better results. But if you want to see the other combination chart, it is in lap 6 of Fast Track, and it's called Advanced Combination Chart. That's actually my favorite combination chart, just because I want to see all my options. I'm that type person. But if you want to see a little bit limited view to get you started, then stick with this one. I like to explain this as a trip to the beach, y'all. This blue column, it's like you've gone to the beach and you've taken the scenic route. It's going to take you just a little bit longer to get to the beach. This yellow column, you got on the highway and you went to the beach. This red column, you got on the interstate and you went to the beach. If I'm taking the scenic route and you're taking the highway, and if somebody else is taking the interstate, are we all going to get to the beach? Yes. I'm just going to get there a little bit slower than the people that took the interstate and the highway. But if you think about a trip to the beach, most of the time, you're not just on one of those types of roads. It's a little bit of scenic route, a little bit of highway, a little bit of interstate. Okay. So just think about this as a journey, and you can do all of these. But if you'll be willing to stick in these a little bit more than this one, you're going to get even better results faster. Okay. So the next thing, we're going to do a little recap. Category 1, which is a lean protein, or category 7, shellfish. Oh, let me tell you what shellfish is. Shellfish is anything that lives in water that's not fish. All fish goes in category 1. It's anything that lives in water, even if it doesn't have a shell, that's not fish, like crab, mollusks, oysters, squid, octopus, crawdads, all the random critters that live in water, even if they don't have a shell, go in shellfish. Okay, so you got these are both lean proteins, remember that. Oh, let me go back to this. I got to go back right here, because I want to tell you about sorry, my dog barked. I've got to tell you about a classic plate. The classic plate of a steak and baked potato. If you eat the potato with the steak, which by the way, you can do up to 6 times a month. If that's your favorite thing, you can do it up to 6 times a month. But if you're going to eat the potato, it elevates your blood sugar. And then insulin is released from your pancreas. It comes out to elevate blood sugar, but it gets super excited that you ate it with some fat, and it goes and collects the fat from the steak and stores it. So that's why we don't eat carbs that bring an insulin release with a fat. And that's just a good example for me to share, because a lot of people are like, but I like my steak and potatoes. Yes, you can have them. You can have them up to 6 times a month. Okay, let's go back to this page. So the fastest fat burning combination is a lean protein and a fibrous carb cooked up in MCT oil. And we're going to hit MCT oil in just a second. If you want to eat a 3 or a 5, which is an energy carb or fruit, it must be eaten with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. And we don't eat category 4s, which is protein plus fat, with energy carb, fruit, or superfoods. And then all meat at a restaurant should be considered a category 4. All meat at a restaurant should be considered a category 4. Because let's say that you order a piece of chicken breast at a restaurant thinking, okay, I can have chicken breast, green beans, and mashed potatoes. Okay, because at home you could do that. You could approved mashed potatoes. You could do that at home. But at a restaurant, you don't know what oil they cooked that chicken breast in. Basically, they took some chicken breast and they cooked it up in not an oil that is approved for Shibboleth. They turned it into a protein plus fat, and you would not order mashed potatoes with that anymore. Okay, because those are a 3, and we don't eat 3s with category 4s. So that's why all meat at a restaurant should be a 4, because then that'll determine that you don't order it with an energy carb, fruit, or superfoods. That would lead you to ordering it with a side salad, broccoli, asparagus, cauliflower, and things like that. Okay. Let's talk about approved cooking oils, MCT oil. 100% MCT oil is our most highly recommended oil. It has almost no propensity to be stored on your body as fat. Amen, hallelujah. I love that. I have not bought any other oil besides MCT oil in 2.5 years, because I don't need to be told more than one time this information. Okay, medium chain triglyceride has almost no propensity to be stored on your body as fat. Thank you. That's what I needed to know. Now, let's talk about a long chain triglyceride, which is canola oil, vegetable oil, olive oil. Those are long chain triglycerides. They have a great propensity to be stored on your body as fat. Why? They are a longer fat lipid, they take longer to break down, and they are more dense. So they take longer to burn up and longer to break down. And our bodies, we're not out running marathons. It's not like we're hoeing the garden. We don't do all of that extra work that they used to way back when, and burning these things off in a day. So we just, if we have those kind of oils in our body, they're easily accessible sources of energy, but that are also hard to break down. And it's just always been gnawing on that. So you use MCT oil. Our second most recommended oil is coconut oil. Coconut oil is 66% MCTs, but it's not 100. How do you get 100% MCTs? You pull them all out of the coconut oil. Now, most of the time it's from coconut oil or palm oil, one or the other, most time coconut. But some people have asked me, what if I'm allergic to coconut? I've had people say that they're allergic to coconut, but that this MCT oil does not bother them. But you just want to be careful with it if you have a coconut issue. And just to let y'all know, MCT oil is flavorless. It doesn't really have a flavor in it. But what I do is I'll add seasonings to it, and I really, really like it. Ghee butter is also approved. Now, ghee butter is just butter that has been clarified, meaning all the milk solids have been pulled out of it. And this is 25% MCTs. And then you can use 0-calorie cooking spray. Okay, but long chain triglycerides like olive oil, canola oil, and vegetable are not approved on a Shibboleth perfect day. Okay, now when you go to the restaurant and you don't know what oil they've cooked it in, we allow folks to eat that because we are trying to create a practical, sustainable lifestyle, and you can't really get away with not eating out at some point in time. So you got to be able to make the best decisions that you can. That's why you call all meat at a restaurant a category 4. And even though the oil is not necessarily approved, if you order it with a 5 carb, you'll be all right. And it makes this thing practical, sustainable, and fun because we all like to go out to eat. This is how I make a decision with what I use. If I am cooking a lean protein, whether from category 1 or category 7, I'll use MCT oil. If I am cooking a protein plus fat, category 4, I use 0-calorie cooking spray. If I am cooking something that needs a butter flavor or in a recipe, I use ghee butter. So that's how I make my decisions right there. I don't really use coconut oil. I used to before Shibboleth use coconut oil, but then I went, oh, let's do this one. All right, let's start wrapping this up. I want you to remain in EFB as often as possible. Okay, it takes 2 days to get into EFB. So we are striving for perfect days, but then planned or unplanned, a holiday is coming because we are living life. There's anniversaries, there's birthdays, there's actual holidays, there's other special events, and we can celebrate them and have them, and we can use food in a celebratory way as it was really meant to be eaten off plan, right? I mean, you got to eat, if you want cake, you got to know that's not something every day. That's something celebratory. Okay. It just makes sense to think about it that way. So then you get right back to your perfect days, and then you string as many efficient fat burning days together as you can and get those results. And then planned or unplanned, a holiday is coming, and then you string as many efficient fat burning days together as you can. And then planned or unplanned, a holiday's coming. Do you see how this is a nice little cycle? This is a great cycle. After a holiday, it takes 2 perfect days to get back into efficient fat burning. When we are in efficient fat burning, our body, this is very exciting news to me, and I hope it is to you, our body will burn fat, which is stored energy, for the energy that we need, rather than easily accessible sources of energy such as unapproved oils or unapproved starchy and sugary carbs. If we're giving our body unapproved oils and unapproved starchy and sugary carbs, then our body is not going to, those are easily accessible sources of energy. They're always going to go to that first. But if we aren't giving our body that, guess where it's got to go? Because we always need energy. It's going to go to the food that we've just eaten. But then when it needs more energy, it goes to the stored energy and burns it. Who's ready to burn some booty? I know I was. So this is how you do it. That is how you do it. Okay, what is the fat bus? The fat bus, this is a recap. The fat bus is insulin. Insulin is a growth hormone. It's a fat storage hormone. Insulin also increases appetite. So if you've ever eaten ice cream and then you go, I need Lay's barbecue potato chips, you're like, oh, now I need a peanut butter cookie. Oh, now I need a pickle. Oh, now I want some Ritz crackers. And you're like, oh my goodness, where did all of that come from? Insulin. Insulin will send your appetite off the charts. After an insulin release, fat storage will occur for up to 48 hours, meaning you're out of EFB. See, 48 hours, that's where the 2 days comes from. After the fat bus has been on its rounds, it takes 2 days to get back into EFB. What's going on during the 2 days? During those 2 days, your body is getting rid of insulin and sugar stores so that you get back into efficient fat burning on that 3rd day. Now, what are you going to eat this week? You simply make yourself a list of 7 to 10 favorite lean proteins, 7 to 10 favorite fibrous carbs. Pick something from one category and something from the other category. Cook it up in MCT oil if you've got it. If you don't, use a 0-calorie cooking spray or one of the other ones and eat. Okay? You just mix those two together and eat. Now, those are simple meals, and I did keep everything real simple in the beginning, and it was good to keep it simple. Then throw in a few meal replacements for simplicity. Mighty Muffin. I ate about 20 Mighty Muffins in my first 20 days. What I ate for my first 20 days is listed out in the announcements of the Shibboleth new member fast track group on Facebook. If you go to the Shibboleth new member fast track group on Facebook and then look through the announcements, I've got what I ate during my first 20 days there. I lost 12.5 pounds during that time. Keep it simple in the beginning and then branch out as you continue to learn the lifestyle. And then take advantage of our awesome resources. Okay, I'm going to teach you all kinds of things in fast track this week. If you'll hang out with me every night at 7:30 for a week, you will learn a lot. Consider this a continuing education unit for life. You know, if you're a real estate agent, you take continuing ed classes. If you're an insurance agent, you take them. If you're a teacher, you take them. If you have a dairy allergy, you can use the dairy-free, aka fake butters. So what I would do is I would go into the food library. I would type in butter. I would let it bring up all the butters, and then I would click dairy-free. And I would let that make sure. So what I would do with that is if it's not listed in the food library, you need to submit that to Kim Shibboleth, because to tell you the truth, I haven't had that question yet, and I don't have that problem. So I haven't found out the answer. But I would go into the food library, type in butter. Then we've got a filter for dairy-free. And if you click that, it'll remove everything that won't work for you. That's the way I would do that. Okay. But come and learn this stuff. If you are not able to join me live every night, it's recorded and then put into the website for you to watch on demand, okay? And I just want to say, welcome to the Shibboleth family. We are here for you. Each and every one of the mentors, and then myself, I'm not a mentor. We've all been where you are, and we've overcome, and we want to see nothing more than for you to succeed too. All right, so please just come and go with us, and I hope that I went over a lot of information because the whys behind these things are important, but all you got to do is 4 out of those 5 things to hit a perfect day. Water. Get your water in, start writing down what you're eating, do your very best to hit the proper combinations, and if it's not, you'll learn and you'll edit it for the next time. Portions. Go ahead and start those. Those are the 4 perfect days. 4 things for a perfect day, and then try to get your timing in. Try to give yourself 4 to 6 hours between meals. Okay, now I normally just like to spend an hour doing this, but I decided this morning that I am going to do a little bit of bonus time today. So if you are tired of me, or if you have something else to do, I totally understand. But I am going to real quick go over lap 1 in fast track and tell y'all what I want you to do, because this is pretty important. Okay, and I just want to hit this real quick. So I'm going to Fast Track. Fast Track is where everybody learns the lifestyle. So I have it saved as a favorite. See right up here on my favorites bar? Yes, yes, awesome, Shannon. I have it saved as a favorite right there, Fast Track Laps. But for those of you who don't have it saved as a favorite yet, you just log into your Shibboleth account and you click Dashboard. Now, if you're brand new, it's probably pulling you up to Fast Track anyway. And if you just go back to your welcome email, it says click here to go to Fast Track. We don't even put a whole bunch of stuff in the welcome email because everything is right here. In this lap 1 is where I want you to focus on your attention. You can even do it tonight if you have time. This looks like a long list. It is not a long list. So the way this works is you read this little paragraph up top, but if you were on a computer, you hover your mouse over the link and that black box will pop up. That black box is the instructions for that assignment. Consider each one of these little things just a small little homework assignment. But I never was one of those teachers that tried to trick people or do anything like that. I want you to know exactly how to do it. And so that's what the black box is for. If you are looking at this on a phone or a tablet or an iPad or something like that, you lightly touch the information eye and the black box will pop up, okay? So this very first task is simply to register for this week's Fast Track classes. Now I'm gonna give you a tip. Well, we're gonna look at it. Once you click there, you have to click on this event, Kim's Events. When you go right here to click the red register button, it's going to take you to a Zoom registration. You go ahead and register. You only have to register for one. Once you've registered for one, you're registered for all of them, okay? And then you simply check that box because see, these boxes aren't going to be checked on your page, okay? Check that box. The next thing you're going to do is watch these little 14 Fast Track videos. It takes less than 1 hour to watch the videos. They're all like 2 to 6 minutes long, maybe an 8-minute one, but they're really, really short. But when you're watching them, at the bottom, it'll say watched and it'll say no right there. After you've watched it, click that, change that to yes, so that you get credit for watching the videos. It'll also change the hyperlink from blue to green, and you'll know that you'll remember where you are in the process of watching them. At the end of that, you are going to get a little badge, and it's going to be a Fast Track badge. But what's important about that badge is that getting that badge opens up your full food library, recipe library, and restaurant guide to you. And this is going to be very important for you in the beginning, but we don't open it up until you've done just a little bit of work so that you know what you're looking at in there. Okay, this next line says welcome packet and guidelines. The next one says phase 1 combination chart. This next one, phase 1 fastest combination chart and rules. This next one, Travis's fast start meal ideas. Okay, these are printables. I want you to print those. You can print them, you can 3-hole punch them, put them in a binder, you can highlight, make notes and all of that. If you do not have a printer, you can just read them and make your important notes on your own paper or notebooks, okay? But they're always going to be accessible to you right here. Then this book right here, this is the phase 1 program book. It's 66 pages long. I did not print that one. Actually, I remember reading that one on an airplane. I learned Shibboleth in a hotel room in Austin, Texas, and then I was flying home and I read that book on the airplane. So I didn't print the 66-page book out. I just read it and made notes. This one is a sample grocery list. You can simply print that or just write the notes that you want to on your own paper. The new member food library, and we'll click here and show you. This is a very great resource because remember earlier where I said you need to pick 7 to 10 favorite lean proteins, 7 to 10 favorite fibrous carbs and stuff. This right here will help you see what some of those options are. You just kind of scroll through and pick your foods and put them on a list. It's that simple. And then this next document right here is a meal plan worksheet. I want you to see what this looks like. See, what you want to do is, what do I currently eat? Okay, I currently eat this for breakfast, this for lunch, this for dinner. See, Shibboleth is just simple swaps. What simple swaps do you make? Maybe it's a different product that you need to purchase at the store. Maybe your tortilla does not work for an approved day. Maybe your loaf bread doesn't work. Maybe something else. Maybe you switch those things around. And then you swap some things that you eat on the plate together. And then you simply, excuse me, right over here, what the new thing is that you'll be eating. So that's a really great worksheet. And again, if you don't have a printer, you just create it on your own paper. And then right here, from that one, that one, that one, and that one, those are, if you are a Facebook user, you can take advantage of those groups and pages. That'll take you all of about 5 seconds to join. Okay, so some of these are super quick and easy. Some of them are printing and reading and making notes, but you would expect to print, read notes for any lifestyle. Okay, and then this next one is make your first journal entry. Now, if you don't make your first journal entry today or tomorrow, just leave that box unchecked until you do make your first journal entry, and then you come back and you check it. You're like, okay, done. So I hope that you like the way that this is laid out, because it's laid out in a way, I truly believe that it's just a very organized, methodical way for you to work through it. And if you'll check the boxes, you can come back and know exactly where you left off. So let's say you've got kids and they're yelling, you need to go. You get up, you go. And then when you're not doing stuff with them anymore, you come back and go, okay, where was I? I'm looking at that phase 1 combination chart. Let's get back to looking at this. Okay. So I want you to have the fast track be your hub this week. Okay. This whole website's my hub every day. I come in here and I journal and mark the things and do the things because it's important enough to me to do. And let's look at lap 2 real quick. And the reason I'm going over these 2 laps is because I do not go over these laps with you. You have to just kind of do them on your own. But I go over lap 3 through lap 7 with you completely. But I use like lap 1 day tonight to do the overview. And then tomorrow I do the simple food combining. So I don't actually go over lap 1 and lap 2 with you. Confirm your email. Find your ideal weight. Complete a full body assessment. Complete your profile, making sure to record your starting weight and starting measurements. This is very important to record all of them. People get very bummed that they did not record this in the beginning because they can't go back and say, I've lost X number of inches, because they don't have the data. Take a before front and side picture and upload to your account. People get bummed that they don't have a before front and side picture too, because a lot of times people are hiding behind other people in pictures and you never can find a really good before and after picture. And then define your why. So these are very important steps in the process of getting your mind right for your lifestyle. But then these bottom 3 right here, these are just things that this one says watch the daily fast track webinars. So if you miss one of the webinars this week, you just come right here in lap 2 and you just click here and they're already all there. Even if you wanted to be like star student and go ahead and watch them all, they're already there. That was all last week's. So they're there. But if you miss one, you can come back. Now, I prefer that you're here with me live, because if you have a question, you can ask it. Then tomorrow night, I'm going to use a link. I'm going to use this link right here to teach the class tomorrow night. And because people always want it afterwards, I just have it in there. And then right before we go into lap 3, going over food library and all of those things, I ask you one more time, take the fast track quiz and earn your first badge if you didn't already do it. But the reason I have it there is because you really are going to want it before you go into lap 3. Okay, let's see. Okay, bye, Anonymous. I'll see you later. Okay, So we're going to hop off of here tonight. I hope that helped. Y'all work on lap 1 and lap 2 tonight and tomorrow, hopefully. And then we're going to do lap 3 through lap 7 together on Tuesday through Saturday night. But come back tomorrow night for the 1 full hour on food combinations. It's pretty important. And my prayer for you is keep them safe day and night. Give them courage, strength, and might. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. You're welcome, Stephanie. You're welcome. I'm so glad y'all are here with me tonight. Bye, everybody.